Again, like I said, I'm still asking questions, but I believe our existence is sort of a simulation, not a simulation like a computer game, but something like that. And it gets very selfish. Just put it that way. But it doesn't, if that makes sense. I'm not ready. I'm not really ready to come out and explain it yet, but it takes time.
Well, keep asking questions. But now I have a question for you, and I have to admit I was offended, but I didn't understand it, so I wasn't totally offended.
Go ahead.
I saw a picture that you took. You take a lot of pictures, and I like a lot of them.
When was this picture you saw?
On Facebook.
Yeah, but when was it? It wasn't this morning, was it?
I saw this picture of, I don't even know what the subject was, except that I think it was trash.
You would have known right away. What? No,
I think it was trash, and the Holy Bible, not the Holy Bible, God, no, it wasn't the Holy Bible, but it was a book about Jesus. Jesus saves or something.
Yeah?
And your comment was garbage.
Oh, no, it was on Easter, and I was walking Rexio in the park, waiting for Tori to text me back. She's probably, waiting for her Starbucks or something like that. But she was getting ready. We were going to go out, and I was walking Rexio, and I walked by a garbage, can't really call them garbage cans. They're like those park garbage containers,
Uh-huh.
It's on my Instagram and my Twitter, I think, and on top was a little card that said Jesus saves, and next to it there's was an eyeglass case, and it was just there. It was just propped up there, and it, I like to take photos spontaneously when I feel it. And I took the photo. I knew it would be something. I sat down on the bench. I started to think about it. I said, you know what? Somebody wanted to throw it out, but they couldn't throw it in the garbage because they felt they would be disrespecting religion if they threw that in the garbage, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the eyeglass cases. It may have been the same person, but I don't think so. I think it was somebody else. The eyeglass case may have been there before or after, but I think it led to that not being thrown out. So instead of putting it in the hole, they placed it on top. They felt that that was a little bit more respectful, which is fine. But to me,
well, somebody would come and pick it up.
No, I don't even think they cared if anyone would pick it up. I think it was for themselves. They didn't want to throw it out. They felt like they would be wasting if they threw out the eyeglasses, or that they would be disrespecting Jesus if they threw out the little card. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So what they did was they just placed it up on top next to the garbage. So they said, all right, I don't want to hold this thing all day, but I'm placing it here. It also could have just been like somebody who's out there missionarying, whatever they call that, and they said, hey, it's a good spot, people throw shit out, so I'm put this up here so they see they're promoting Jesus. It could have been like that too. But to me, it's all garbage. It means nothing if you don't feel it in your heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what I would have done? I would have put a question mark on that.
Fair enough. That's what I kind of did with the photo, though.
That's what I think, that if you would have put a question mark, I wouldn't have gotten offended. Because anybody who...
But then they wouldn't have got the message. They'd be like, wait a minute, what's he saying? You got
it. Jesus garbage, that kind of like offends me.
Wait. What did I write on the, did you read the whole thing?
I just read garbage. That's all I read.
Right, that's the whole point. You got to read the whole thing, look at the photo, and sometimes if it offends you, that means you care. So you go back and you read it again. So what it was a picture of a little card that said Jesus saves and a pair of eyeglass cases that clearly were garbage, but somebody didn't throw it out. So I took a picture of it and I put, it's all garbage anyway, or something along those lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I say Jesus is garbage? Did I say glasses.com is garbage?
No, to me it was like you saw the name and it was in the garbage area and you said, I read the whole thing, it's all garbage. In other words,
right.
Everything is garbage. Religion is garbage, Jesus is garbage, everything is garbage. And that offended me. That's how I took it. But if you would have said garbage, is it all garbage, and put a question mark on it, I would not have been offended.
No, because here's why, Mom. Here's why. One, it was on a garbage can, but they didn't throw it out. Two, meaning they wanted to throw it out, but they didn't. Two, it was literally a piece of garbage. Meaning, eventually that thing would have to be recycled into the earth. Number.
Right, now, another thing I want to tell you is.
Wait. I just want to finish this. I want to finish this because it's we're recording this for the podcast. So this it's a piece of garbage. So it should have been thrown out. It's Easter Sunday. I'm not that cold where I'm going to say Jesus is a piece of garbage. But I believe, I'm an artist. So I have to make a statement, at least what I feel from my heart. So, it did its job. And, I'm in sales and marketing for a long time. So it did the correct job. It got someone very smart, you, to look at it, to think about it, to question it, to get offended, but then you called me and you asked me a question about it. That's what it's all about. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. This is the most important person in my life right here, my mother.
Well, believe me when I tell you, my love is unconditional. I may not understand why you did that, but I could not be mad at you for it. I just didn't understand it.
Right. Do you understand my explanation?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's Easter Sunday. How cold would that be if I...
But be careful because semantics mean a lot.
That's fair enough.
I know that you can take, artists can take all kinds of liberties, and I'm glad for that, believe me.
Right.
I wouldn't change that for nothing. But be careful even when you write something that you're not, that you're really getting what you are feeling across. Try to do that.
It was 100% genuinely what I feel from my heart, with a little bit of art and creative license, knowing that it would piss some people off, but it was fair enough. It's all garbage. And kinda, I do believe most religion, what men teach us, meaning, the Bible, church, I truly believe that those are just stories. I don't want to say it's garbage because people, genuinely believe it in their heart. So I'm not going to disrespect them and say it's garbage.
I say this, the Passion, for instance, the story of Christ himself.
Good movie.
No, not the movie, the story, the real story.
Oh, okay. They made a movie about it. You know that, right?
They made quite a few movies. They just did a musical. Fox did a musical. It was very well done.
Was Mel Gibson involved in that one too? He did the Passion of the Christ.
Who?
Mel Gibson.
Oh no, Mel Gibson had nothing to do with this.
What do you mean? It was like the highest-grossing film ever made at the time.
No, I'm talking about the new one. That was a musical in modern times.
Oh, okay.
What?
Wasn't that long ago?
The story. The one thing that gets you about this, the Passion, is the story. Number one is beautiful. Number two, the story has been around for over 2,000 years.
Longer.
Yes, and you cannot deny something like that.
Right.
I mean, even something, go back further, when the Jews got the Ten Commandments, when they were on their way to the Promised Land, and they were going through the desert, and Moses got the Ten Commandments, the Exodus. I mean, do you realize that here we are in the 21st century, and before the first century, okay, which is like, 4,000 years ago, somebody came up with the Ten Commandments. How ingenious some men can be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's part of my story, and as part of my story, I have a unique take on it, and I believe it's been going on since the very beginning, and it'll keep going on till the very end, and then it'll start over again. And it's about a balance, and it's kind of a death match. The whole thing. It's to see what we'll believe in, what we won't believe in, what we'll kill for, what we'll die for.
It's cyclable. We're recycled.
Right.
It's all a cycle. Everything makes a cycle. And that's how the...
right, but you said something earlier. You said you can't deny it, and I don't believe that. I believe you can't dismiss it, but there's certain things you can absolutely, deny. I mean, or I'd have to look up the definition of deny, but like the story of the dying on the cross. Fair enough. You could confirm it through history. We could do what we can, but the raising of the dead after 3 days, it didn't happen. There's rules to this universe. It just didn't happen. That's what I believe anyway. Now.
Well, if there's a supreme being, it could happen. Again, you don't dismiss everything as being nonsense.
Right, but that one's a little bit, I mean, it's a story about a zombie. I mean.
I don't think the good Lord was a zombie.
No, the good Lord's not a zombie, but here's what I believe. I believe Jesus is absolutely a prophet. He absolutely, lives, put it that way, because of what he did, but there's rules, put it that way.
Well, that's why we go from rules to faith. That's the leap.
What? We go from rules to what?
Faith.
Yeah, but faith's part of the death match. It has to be faith with evidence. Data has to back up faith, and that's what we've been doing, since the beginning. And I mean, look what absolute 100% quote unquote faith gets us. It gets us heads chopped off. It gets us rape. It gets us pillage. It gets us, it gets us nothing. I don't want to say nothing, but it doesn't get us further along the evolution chain. It doesn't do it. Well, it does do it, but it's the other people who.
But wrong there. Faith gets us forward as much as science. Take Martin
Sometimes.
Luther King. Was he not a Christian? Look how far he has brought human beings in my time, not 2,000 years.
Right, but if he was
50.
if he was alive when Jesus was around, he wouldn't have been able to tell his story because he would have been dismissed if he had the same personality.
He would have
Wait,
been crucified. So instead of being crucified, he was shot.
right. But so there has to be a balance. So he called himself a Christian, but he wasn't really a Christian, because if he was really a Christian, he would have followed the book. And if he followed the book, he'd be dismissed. So that's why it has to be a balance. And if he
No. Christ didn't follow the book either.
no, he came up with his own book. That's why he's a god.
Didn't follow the book because men's interpretation of
Love
these
Jesus.
good men turned them into villains is not a basic of whether there is faith or non-faith.
Can I ask you a question?
Faith of good and evil and everything that we've learned so far. Think about it.
Right. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Think of this. Is this possible, right? Jesus, who truly believed in his heart, what was happening at the time was wrong. He comes out, he does what he does, but he starts to see, oh, they're just going to kill me. This is not going to work out well. So I got to do something, right? So he gets together with some boys and girls. They sit around, they have some flatbread or whatever they were eating, right? And they come up with a plan. And maybe it happened this way, maybe it didn't. This is just a question. But what if one of them, right? And let's say it's Judas. Maybe him and Jesus are really close. What if they one night, maybe after taking some mushrooms, some experimental mushrooms or some acacia bush or whatever, maybe they smoke a little of that. We'll get to that later. But let's say they come up with a plan, and their plan is, listen, shit's bad. We got to do something about it, but they're just going to kill me anyway. Here's what we do. This is the story. They start putting down a story. After they kill me, right, because they were badass back then. They were willing to die for what they believed in. Still, there's badasses today who do it. After they kill me, this is what you say. Is that a possibility?
Of course. But then how do you dismiss the centurions who guarded the tomb night and day?
Fair enough. Maybe they were in on it.
Oh, okay. They took the Roman guards and convinced them that they should let them loose.
Like I said, it's just a question, and that was good. I don't know. Like I said, there's rules to the universe, and if you go back, there's scriptures that we haven't even found yet that date back.
By the way, it's not called rules. It's called laws. There are scientific laws. There's
Fair enough.
There's a difference between theory and laws. Laws means it's absolute. You can add to a law, but a law is the truth.
Not always.
In physics and in science and in math, there are laws that they know for sure.
No, that's not 100% true though, because a law